people of the internet, and welcome to the Just Cause 3 Q&A, live Q&A, coming to you from the Square Enix booth at E3. My name is Petra Opelova, and I'm the community manager for Just Cause 3, and with me here is the amazing Roland Lesterlin, who is the game director for Just Cause 3. Welcome, Roland.
It's great to be back.
How are you feeling after 3 days of E3?
Well, you can hear from my voice. It's been going a little bit, but it's been going great. We've had amazing response. There's a response online. The fans have been great. Been having tons of fun. All the interviews going around. We've picked up some prizes. I mean, the team back in New York and in Sweden, they've been really excited. There've been long email chains with lots of memes and things like that going around, and being so happy at all the fan response, which is super helpful. I mean, it's the thing that drives us to keep working harder and polishing the game more and more, getting ready for December 1st.
Yeah, long way still. 5-6 months, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Oh my god, can't believe it. Anyway, let's get to the questions. So basically how this is going to work, we have already collected some questions from our social media channels, such as Twitter, Instagram, also Steam, and our personal Just Cause 3 forums. And we have a list, but you can also tweet to Just Cause 3. Hashtag Just Cause 3. Any questions you might have during the stream, and we will just be checking them out. I will be really antisocial and looking at my computer while Roland is answering the questions. But yeah, let's get started. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Your voice is okay?
It's going to be great.
So let's start with a broad question from Steam, actually. Hoot. If I butcher your name, by the way, I'm really sorry. I'm foreign. It's just like how it goes. So Hoot is asking, what will be the best thing on Just Cause?
The best thing.
Yeah.
God, there's so many things to choose from. I mean, you could probably tell from the trailers, it's probably explosions.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. I actually think the best thing in Just Cause is player mechanics. It's just like the fluidity that you can move through the world. And we spent so much time focusing on gameplay and systems from the very beginning that it's starting to get to that point where every button interaction has an immediate response to it. It feels like you are Rico running around, and the things that are in your mind can happen. And that fluidity of movement, wingsuiting to parachute, even just running on the ground and turning and shooting and being able to do all those mechanics seamlessly, I think that's where we're really shining.
Yeah, because like when you look at the trailer we announced will publish on Tuesday, I think it was. You can check it out on our YouTube channel as well, which is / Just Cause Game. You can see like Rico is going into an explosion, and you think, oh my god, what's going to happen? And suddenly he comes out of the explosion in a parachute, and it's just like, oh my god, it's so cool. Next question, coming from Twitter. Aditya Jain is asking, as someone who has played both Just Cause and Just Cause 2, what I want to know is what makes Just Cause 3 even better.
Even better. Well, I think the biggest thing that we started with was looking at all the great things in Just Cause 2. So we looked at the grapple hook and the parachute, obviously, because that was a core piece of the game identity, and the explosions and the destruction. And we decided, don't change things that aren't broken, but let's improve on them. Let's polish them. Let's spend more time making sure the feel is really there. Use the extra power of the new consoles to push the fidelity across the board. Rico's much higher fidelity now as a game character. Many more animation sets now are running within it. The grapple hook itself feels really good, and then changing that so that you can now control the tension of the grapple. That really feels like a game changer. It doesn't sound like a huge thing when I just tell people that, but it's like when you suddenly realize that you can just slightly pull the trigger and you just see the wire go from kind of loose to just taut, and then you could see the physics objects like straining against their constraints, and then you see them fly together, and that suddenly opens up this huge world of creativity within it. I think the wingsuit is pretty game-changing. By stabilizing the parachute so you can really fight from the parachute. There's my voice cracking there. You could really fight from the you could really fight from the parachute now and like shoot and aim and feel really good about it. The ability now to do traversal with the wingsuit, it's just pretty joyous. You just have tons of fun. The grapple hook and the wingsuit just you get that real sense of fluidity and flying and movement. And I mean, the team's done an incredible job to get that feel right. And then the thing that a lot of people talked about in JC2, saying they wanted vehicles to feel more variety and they wanted to feel weightier and all that. So we rebuilt all the vehicles from the ground up, and the variety of vehicles is enormous. So I think that is a pretty massive jump forward. And then destruction.
Yeah, because you have like with the vehicles, you have like everything from a monster truck to tractor to like a sports car, and it's just like wow, you know. And especially if you can upgrade them with the nitros, it just gives the vehicle something else to do with. So yeah, that's like my personal favorite there. Next question. Oh, I really like that one. It's from Josh Duckhouse. Just Cause 2 theme music is superb. Can we expect similar experience with the score to Just Cause 3?
Well, I don't think we've actually made any announcements on the score yet, but I mean, why not? I'll make an announcement right now. Yeah, surprise. An old friend of mine, Henry Jackman, came on and did the music for us. And if you guys want to look him up on IMDb, he's one of the biggest composers in the world. Normally, he just works on huge films, you know, from Pirates of the Caribbean to Captain America. He did Captain Phillips, that one. He did The Interview, which, you know, that whole North Korea thing. Sorry, Henry, I didn't mean to call you out there. But I mean, it's amazing to be able to work with someone as talented as him, and the fact that he would accept to come on board and work on a game when normally he's working on these giant, huge films all the time with, you know, crazy famous people. And you know, I've known him for, gosh, a long time now, maybe 15 years, 14 years, and then he came on board, and he's just so talented. I mean, he lifts the whole game, that experience, that feel, and working with our audio director and our sound designers to really integrate it, because it's a really tough thing to do big music in an open world game. It has to be adaptive. It needs to constantly be changing according to what the player is doing, so that if you're just looking at a vista, you want it to hear the birds, and you want like a soft thing, and then you want the combat to kick in as soon as an explosion goes off. And you know, the audio team has been doing an incredible job of making every gun and vehicle sound great, the whole sound landscape in there, and then that combined with some of Henry's music has been pretty fun.
Yeah, because people sometimes don't realize how much music actually does for games, because it's just like enhances the whole experience, and you're just like feeling after the explosion, after you do whatever you want to do, you're like, oh my god, I'm so awesome.
Yeah, it's a great thing, and the fact that Henry and his whole team spent so much time, and there's just a lot of passion in it. You know, they really were listening to what the game was about, and they were trying to invent new instruments, because the island is an invention in the Mediterranean, and being influenced by, you know, Italy and Spain and music that comes from there, and using, you know, steel string guitars. And we also listen to the old JC theme, so we're not going really far away from it. We use a lot of that as our influence to create a new basis for how the soundscape works.
Nice. So exciting.
So there you go, an exclusive announcement just for you guys.
Tweet it out, tweet it out. I will tweet it out after. Okay, next one from Panda, a very creative name. What can we expect to see in terms of assets and vehicles? Well, we kind of touch on that, right? Will many of the JC2 assets be reused in JC3?
So that's a tough thing, because when we're doing any game that goes from one console to the next, the increase in resolution that we're doing per asset dramatically changes how we build them, and how we decide to build the world. Now, with the fact that so much stuff is destructible in the world, you need to actually build the destruction into the assets themselves. So we really had to work with our artists and our designers and our programmers and our sound designers and the VFX guys and pretty much everyone to redo almost every asset in the world. We redid our entire terrain system as well, so that we were able to carve into the terrain and create, you know, not just tunnels for roads, but these cliff sides. But I'll get a little nerdy because it's fun. Why not? I mean, we got a little time here. For a long time, games, the way you do the map is imagine a projector above a table.
Yeah.
And so you project down the picture of the world, the images. But as you increase the angle of elevation anywhere in the world, the projection that goes against it is obviously has less and less information from that projection.
Okay.
So it starts stretching. But what happens when you're straight or angled the other way is you no longer get information there. So we've had to completely redesign how we did it so that we could have overhangs of cliffs and tunnels and giant cave structures and
Yeah.
all that. And that really allowed us to create a world that, hopefully will surprise people and get them really excited about going in this immense, beautiful world. So, I mean, going back to the asset question, there's not much we could reuse. But we did really try to create a whole brand identity around even each vehicle. It's amazing. I mean, the art team is spectacular.
It's a crazy amount of work.
It's a crazy amount of work.
Because if you imagine, we have 400 square meters, right?
Miles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Meters, miles. Sorry.
Square meters, it would be be like the showroom right here.
I'm European. Anyway.
We should do it in kilometers. Right?
That's over 1,000, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
We should do the
quick
math.
It's third day of E3. I'm not doing any math.
Exactly.
But that's such a huge amount of work. And then, but when you actually see it, because you can wingsuit around the cliffs and through like amazing structures, and you're feeling like it's like a holiday for me. You know, you're just like, oh, I want to just have a few minutes just to calm down and relax, and just wingsuit around. And you're just like, yeah, nice.
And if you look at the level of detail the guys have done, I mean, from our world designers and to our artists, they go in and there's so much love and care for every building, every piece of trash that's placed in the world. Every bush that's there, like someone has gone in and lovingly put in that level of detail, because we want to make sure that every player that goes in the world, they feel that immersion. And we also think that we're so passionate about making this game, and we pour so much of our own heart and soul into it. We want to make sure the players feel that. And I think when you see the game and the fun that's in it and our ridiculous humor that's in the dev team too, I think it comes across directly in the game. And
yay, boom.
I mean, I hope it comes across. And we're real proud of where we are, and we're excited to keep polishing it up.
That's the thing, like, because you spend so much time, so many years working on it, and then when you come here and see people's expressions, you're just like, yes, they get it, they get it.
They do.
It's working.
And it's very nerve-wracking too, because the games now take so long to make.
Yeah.
You really don't get to make that many games in your career anymore.
Yeah.
So each time you've got to do the absolute best you can to make crazy, awesome games that hopefully players will remember, and you get the opportunity to make another one. Yeah, I mean, to come here and the reception we've gotten, the fan responses have been great. And I really appreciate everyone after all I mean, even when I'm doing the live streams and stuff and people making nice comments, and I like some of the making fun of me on memes and stuff. It's been pretty good too. I like the sense of humor out there, and I think people have the right tone for what this game is.
Yeah, because like it's fun, right? Like you
Yeah.
don't want to like come home and spend time on serious stuff. Well, sometimes you do. Anyway, there are other games too that are amazing. Like just saying, so I don't smash any other games. Anyway, I kind of drifted off. Let's get back to the questions. Okay. Oh, that's a nice one. James Mills, TM. How often, on average, do explosions occur during standard missions in Just Cause 3? All the time or all the time?
That explosions and missions happen?
Well, I think like just when you play, how much explosions
How much
per minute?
explosions are there? There are a lot of explosions. I mean, we give you infinite planted explosives in your pocket. So right there's an explosion anytime you want. The variety of weapons, our weapon designers and programmer, there's a weapon programmer who's been making a lot of these weapons along with our VFX artists and the sound guys. And I mean, it's insane. Their creativity to say, take an RPG, for example, and decide how many different ways you can make an awesome RPG where everyone feels different. Everyone does something cool and different. Each one gives you the opportunity to invent a new way of having an explosion, and everyone's awesome. So you can sit there and so yeah, explosions missions are there's a lot of explosions in missions and a lot of things that you have to go and cause more explosions for. And we've been spending a lot of time doing tons of variety in our explosions. So
Yeah.
and you'll notice an explosion from a grenade looks vastly different from a fuel tank, looks different from a spherical fuel tank, looks different from our distillation towers.
Yeah, the
Looks
electrical charge
electrical
as well.
charge that
Yeah.
comes down, the electrical centers that are
Yeah.
special bavarium explosions, which I don't think we've ever talked about. Yeah, they're another exclusive right there. We're just gonna keep throwing them out there. Tons of
Third
explosions in
date
there.
of E3.
There it is. Just
It's
let all
showing.
those secrets go.
Okay.
So lots of explosions in the missions. I don't think you'll be disappointed.
Yeah. Cool. Nice one. We can finish now. We have so much now. Just carrying on. Next one. Ron Barron from Twitter. What is the range of Medici's weather/climate? Will we see snow-top mountains, storms, etc.?
Yes, is the easy way to start.
And we are done.
And we're done. Lots of biomes. Everything from when you're swimming underneath the water and the coral reefs and the fish and the sunbeams coming through the water and the sandy beaches to how it transitions. So there's various transitions that come in, so you get kind of rocky transitions.
Yeah.
So there's all the whole biome base that exists around the kind of beach areas and the cliff sides
Yeah.
into the farmlands, so fields of sunflowers and poppy fields and lavender fields.
Oh, I love those.
Yep.
So pretty.
Also into our forests, so we have these giant, beautiful forests to go and explore. And then into our mountaintops, which are snow-covered peaks. And our weather system will adjust according to your altitude, so there will be rain and snow and storms that roll in, and this amazing like cloud cover, and you can really go into the clouds and
They're
fly
so
through
pretty.
them.
Yeah.
And then we have a full time of day cycle. Our time of day cycle actually connects also with our water cycles, so you'll find that during different times, like late at night, the water will be rougher than it'll be in like the early morning or the at dusk, where the wind dies down a little bit, and so the surface of the water will be a little
Yeah.
calmer. So we want to do that because also you might decide to do a boat race, and then you'll think to yourself, well, if I do the boat race at night, I'm going to hit lots of jumps, or if I do it during the day, I can get a really smooth path. And so, you know, constantly playing with it so the world feels like it's adjusting around you and changing. We have mines, and those mines have I think we even had a shot in our trailer of one of the areas where there's destroyed trees and like areas that have been chopped down and kind of dead tree areas. And you can see we had these giant
Oh,
cave
it's so
structures.
pretty.
So these huge, we've even put bases that are inside of giant
Yeah.
cave structures. So really just tons of environments to go and explore and check out. And so yeah, weather, biomes, all
It's
of it.
there, people. It's
there.
there. Okay, next question. Uh, all Just Cause games have luscious, beautiful maps. Nice for the luscious. But what locations will we explore after Just Cause 3?
After Just Cause 3, or in Just Cause 3.
He said after, but I believe he said after Just Cause 2, probably.
After
right?
Just Cause 2.
I believe so.
I don't think we're allowed to give secrets out on what the next game is yet. I think that's a little early still for that one. No, the locations that you'll get to explore, we tried to make the world feel like it has its own personality in each area. So when you start the game, it feels like a vacation spot in the Mediterranean. Cliffside towns, these beautiful, perched towns that stick out over the cliffside, beaches with sunbathers and boats and all that stuff. And I mean, even though there's an oppression, even under brutal dictatorships, you still get people living their lives and going to the beach because
Yeah.
it's nice to go to the beach. And so you kind of start in that region, and you'll get this kind of sense of these big port bases and
the
the
water
cliff
is
sides
so
and
pretty.
giant bridges and all that. And then as you progress into the second part, you'll actually find a place that this archipelago that has much more of a Swiss cheese sort of feel with tons of caves and things to explore, bases inside of giant cave systems, cool rebel bases to find and explore. And then you'll get into Region 3, and you'll get into mines and huge mountains to go and explore in. And we got a bunch of other areas that I won't spoil yet.
Shh, not yet. We haven't revealed enough secrets for one
I
Q&A.
think that's okay.
I really like this one. Jack is asking, also in the Firestarter trailer, you showed some vehicle deformation. Is that in the game?
We do have vehicle deformation.
Yeah.
So when we rebuilt our vehicles, we looked at a lot of different techniques to do it. Both soft body, like really doing tons of deformation detail, and then like a morph target. So our artists actually kind of create multiple vehicles each time they make each vehicle, which is one like a destroyed part, and then we can kind of blend into the destroyed vehicle, so that way you can really see where your impacts are.
Yeah.
And then we have shaders on top of it, so when you shoot the glass, you can see it spider and break there, so you get all that feeling. And then in addition, because Just Cause is such a fast-moving game, you're not really seeing the vehicle, bend around the poles, so we didn't want to go too far that way. We wanted to spend the processing power on hinged parts, so your side view mirrors can break off, the doors can break off, the whole vehicle, the chassis can break apart, and that really gives you this huge explosive feel. So chunks of the vehicle fly all around when they explode. So that's kind of
you can actually see it like here,
pieces of it flying. Yeah, so we wanted to take that approach because we knew we weren't really doing. This game's not really a slow-mo sort of game. It's more of a action game, find your greatest action moment sort of thing. And so that's why we made those decisions to build the vehicles in that way. And then of course we rebuild all the like a real core, almost a racing engine underneath the vehicles, which allows for springs and all that, so you can see when you're racing around in a dune buggy, you'll actually see the wheels move around in the environment and the springs compress. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, sounds really cool. Sticking to vehicles, can you be a passenger and let NPCs drive you around as they go about their business in Just Cause 3?
Actually, it's an awesome feature, and it's something we don't talk about a lot because there's just so many things to talk about.
Yeah.
And it's one of those little things that really changes the way the game works. So when you free a town, rebels will be in that town afterwards, right? They're your ally force. And anytime rebels or military meet in the world, they'll just be fighting each other, and you can decide whether or not you want to help out or not. But if you're in a vehicle, you can drive up to a rebel, honk your horn, and the rebels will jump in the vehicle. Now that's pretty cool, and they'll fight, they'll lean out the windows and shoot. But if you decide to stunt out of the vehicle up onto the rooftop and walk around, the rebel will just take over and keep driving. Now, if you don't tell them where to go, they'll just drive randomly on the road network and make their own decisions about where they want to go. Now, you can keep stunting back in and back out, and that rebel will keep moving out of the way, let you drive the vehicle again. But if you place a waypoint marker in the world and then stunt out, you can literally tell the rebel guy, like, drive to this base for me. And then you can sit there stunting, taking out, the military that's chasing after you with RPG while he is driving you to the base. And then when you jump off the vehicle, they'll jump out of the vehicle and start fighting with you. And it just creates this, like, awesome system of, oh, God, this vehicle, has a gun on it. Let's get all these rebels inside of it. Now I'm going to go attack a base with a bunch of allies.
Yeah, that's so realistic as well. Like, you can actually have buddies in the game that can help you out. That's so cool. And next one, I'm looking at some live ones as well. So keep tweeting using the Just Cause 3 hashtag if you want any of your questions answered. We will also award some people who have been tweeting and interacting with us with some amazing Just Cause 3 goodies like t-shirts and magnetic recos, which are really cool because they're tiny and you can stick them on stuff.
We're going to do a competition with that thing.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Should we tell them what we're going to do with it? Because it should be fun.
Okay.
With the magnetic. Okay, we're going to tell them. Because then it'll get out there. What we're going to do, at least with the devs right now, is we're going to take some pictures with magnetic Rico in the craziest places we can figure out.
Yeah.
And then we'll post them. And then I want to see what everyone else does with the magnetic Rico.
Yeah.
Because that would be fun. Think of all the places you could put on top of a car.
And also because I took him to when I was flying over here, I took him on the plane. It was so cool, just like, oh, Rico is traveling around the world.
Yeah.
Yes, it's so fun.
I would love to see where people start putting magnetic Rico and taking a picture of it. So it's a challenge to all of you, and whoever wants to get involved in that, you know, take some awesome pictures. Yeah, 3-inch Rico everywhere in the world.
Yeah. Let's make it happen, people. Next one from Mama Luigi. Will the bridges get rebuilt after blowing them up? I think that applies to also like other structures.
It does. Like our gas stations, so the gas station will stay destroyed if you stay in the area.
Yeah.
But once you leave the area and you go far enough away, you know, we carry basically the spawn system around with the player wherever you go, so that the game is always interacting with the player wherever you are. So when you come back to that area, things like the gas station will actually be rebuilt because they're so much fun to blow up. It would be a shame that they were gone.
By the end of the game, just everything's just like...
and then our bridges are kind of the same thing, because our bridges are useful for AI. Yeah. They use it to move around the world. And so when you destroy a bridge, the AI has to start repathing and figuring out use another part of the road network to get around. So we wanted to respawn the bridges as well, because they're so much fun to blow up. And when you're driving away, you don't want to suddenly be on a road that didn't have a bridge anymore. So the idea is that it's there, and then you could stunt out and blow it up again.
Yeah. Cool. Next one. How complex is the new destruction system? And how much stuff can we actually blow up?
So it's complex. Yeah, it's a complex system. The people who've been working on the destruction, from designers to artists, the VFX, the sound, the programmers on it, even animation in some of them, all that time spent has made a fairly complex destruction system. To do what we're doing is a pretty big feat in an open world. And then we had to create rule sets for ourselves. I mean, the idea of destroying everything in the world, yes, it's theoretically possible, but if you flatten the world out, you lose the area that you can then grapple to get up in the air and get a vantage point on people. And Rico is returning to kind of where the place he grew up, so the idea of just leveling the whole country
for the people.
I mean, you kind of do it, but what you really do is you level everything that the military holds, so everything that the dictator holds, and that's why he starts losing power over the course of the game, because he's losing his military bases and the control in the towns with using propaganda over the people. But we wanted to then use that extra horsepower of being able to have both static structures and destruction to make the granularity of destruction really there. And you know, even our designers, like the guys who are tech designers who focus on destruction, they talk about an emotional feel of how things destroy. So, you know, how long does it take for a fuel tank to start just creaking and then ripping off its bottom and, you know, start exploding, and then how long until the explosion kicks in, and then what happens afterwards, you know, that, you know, fire shoots up from where it had ripped off the pipe, and, you know, the area then has like an exploded state underneath it that you'll see. So, you know, it's all about spending that time and energy to put in the love into all of that stuff, so that, you know, when our fans get hold of it, they can experience all of that and play around with it.
It does feel epic though, like especially when you're destroying the big towers and then you just like go into wingsuit and fly down and everything is like falling around you and just like, oh my god, this is so big.
That's amazing.
By the way, there is a glass so people can actually see us, so they're like making faces at us.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's all the fan support. That's why we do it.
Next one. It's still sticking to the destruction, but it's about vegetation destruction. Okay. How much is there?
There's a lot. Yeah. Pretty much everywhere.
Destroying the flowers.
You could destroy the flowers. But like our other destruction, the flowers will come back.
Yeah.
They'll be fine later. But you throw a grenade in the middle of a sunflower field, it will create like a flattened ring of sunflowers where that grenade explosion was. You come in with flying in with a helicopter, for example, the jet wash coming down will actually place and push down the sunflowers around you as you
It's
come
like
in.
vibrating.
Yeah,
Yes.
they'll vibrate as the wind comes in. So you can drive through it. You can do all that stuff. The trees, they explode. If
Yeah.
you can literally go in the middle of a forest with an RPG and blow a runway, spawn a plane, and you have a runway in the middle of the forest. We wanted to give you that level of interaction and that level of fun.
Oh, you have also the hay bales, hay
The
rolls,
the hay
right?
bales, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and you can set them on fire and then just roll them around. It's just like, ooh, cool.
Yeah, it's a wild thing. We're having so much fun with it, and the game is about destruction and just joy, and we wanted to make sure that the detail we put everywhere, and then maybe some people just want to mess around making pictures in sunflower fields.
Yes, can't wait for that. Jack Still Alive is asking, what is your favorite part in developing a Just Cause game?
God,
And we have just 4 minutes.
4 minutes. I know that's a tough one. Well, to be honest, I was a huge Just Cause 2 fan, and I wasn't a part of the making of Just Cause 2. I was just a fan like everybody else. When I played that game, it was a vacation. Like there were days where I just wanted to throw in Just Cause 2 and just fly around, and the ability to like kind of see through the water underneath it, and that tropical paradise and these huge explosions everywhere. That is what inspired me. And then when I got the opportunity to join Avalanche Studios, and they're like, hey, would you like to make, work on Just Cause 3? I was like, oh my God, that's just a dream. And everyone who's working on the game kind of feels the same way.
Yeah.
So to be honest, I think my favorite part of working on the game is working with the developers. The people and the passion that exists within the studio is amazing. And the guys making Mad Max and The Hunter, and there's just this camaraderie that exists within the studio where everyone's kind of cheering everyone on, and there's friendly competition, and someone sees an explosion and they're like, oh, that's awesome, did you see what we did over here? And all the games that we make are very different from each other. They have a different vibe to it, but just sitting down one morning and being able to sit with our VFX guys in New York, like Fred and Josie, and sitting with them and saying, what's going on today? And they're like, hey, like check out like this new awesome explosion. I tweaked it so now there's an electrical field and it's got a shock wave that goes out, and the amount of love that they pour into it, it's fun. Like I think that's the best part of making the game.
That's a really good answer. So I think that's all we have time for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for asking questions. You can still ask questions tagging in our Twitter account, which is @JustCause, and I will try to answer them as soon as possible. And hope you enjoy it. Let us know if you did, and if you didn't, then don't let us know. Just positive stuff, people. Positive stuff. Let's be nice. Anyway, very nice to bring this to you. Thank you so much, Roland, for
Thanks.
answering all the questions.
It's great. Sorry my voice is gone.
Yeah, I think after this I will need a rest as well. So thank you so much, and bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.